time to again talk about making sure that the grades are set up properly and categories are set up properly. So when you enter your grade book, you're going to start by clicking on Enter Grade Book and take a look at your grades. Make sure that they're all adding up correctly. If they're not, go to Setup, Categories. Make sure your weights are correct. But you can see both of their weights are at 50%. They total 100, so you're good there. Marking periods are default. And it's set to exclude missing scores from the average. Always double check to make sure it doesn't say missing scores count as zeros in the average. All this does, it means from the moment that assignment is due until the teacher enters the grade, that they're getting zeros in their grade book. So I'm not going to save that change. Let me show you exactly what that means. So for this column, only 2 people have points in right now. Okay, so that means that everybody else would be getting a 0. When you go to assignments, you'll make sure that they're in formative and summative. The categories are correct. You have them in both. You have your titles. If they're add to total points, then they're at the most 10. I like between 1 and 5 best. And make sure that their weights are correct. So today we had an example where every single weight was 1, except for one of them was 100. And I'm sure it was a typo, but as you can imagine, that really messed up with the grade book. So you're going to double check the weight. So on your assignments tab, you're going to really focus on your extra credit column, your points, and your weight. And your points you want to be on a 100-point scale unless you're talking about extra credit. That's really the best thing for teachers, because when they start getting to 4 and then 100 and 25, it messes everything up. So just keep those in mind. And go back to entry. And you have the choice when you're entering grades. You can type in missing, MSG, and that'll count the assignment as a 0. If you type in I, you get an incomplete assignment, and that's going to mark it as excluded, as well as, excuse me, if you mark INC, not I, mark INC. Or if you do EX, you're going to get also get that exempt from the score. And so then those grades would not count against you. When your teachers make a change and they say, I don't know if it's saved or not, this black square means that it has not saved. If the black square is gone, it has saved. Okay? And remember, in this instance where this is 100.83, the highest grade you can possibly get is 100. So that's where it's refreshed there. In her class, excuse me, you can either go grade reporting report card, or you can select the report card for the class we're in. Okay, here's our report card. The first thing you want to do is click on Load from Gradebook. And pulls everybody's grades in. The conduct is supposed to be a letter grade. Sorry, not your E's and your U's. And N's. Your S's will load automatically. So if the rest of these are S's, and we're just going to leave them blank, and they will load as S's on the report card. We're going to go back to our home button. This time we'll click into our second class. We're going to choose our report card icon here. Select the load from gradebook. So again, we're going to enter our E's, our N's, and our U's. The rest of them we're going to leave blank. And we choose save. And that's all we need to do for that. If we have any students, like this one's a 75, but we know it's because they're out sick right now, they're having a hardship for whatever reason, the teacher needs to mark that student incomplete. We'll change it to I, and then mark save again. And then we're going to select home, and notice that our 2 courses are already done. So we need to continue down our list and make sure we do all 3. If teachers are going to be overwriting grades, If she had a 67, we just come back and change it to a 70, make sure we save again. And we need to assure teachers that all grades need to be entered by 4 p.m. on the due date. The closer to 4 p.m. it gets, the slower they go. So it's really best if they do these as early as possible. We're also working on a report that teachers will have to print when they're done through Cognos that shows just the course, student's name, and their grades. That hasn't been finalized. We will send out information as soon as it is. And correct, once we pass that deadline of 4 o'clock, SIS is going to get with the GRSs and they're starting their process. And at that point, any grades changed after 4 o'clock will not be reflected in the student's grades. So the TAC might update, but as far as the student's official record, it wouldn't change at all. So they need to get with the GRS to make those changes.